Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Priya Narasimhan. I'm with a local company called YinzCam Incorporated. We do a lot of different things. We do sports technologies and also some of the stuff that Councilman Bill Peduto talked about in the morning, including iBerg. So I'm going to talk to you about both of those things. Before I jump into YinzCam, first confession. I'd never watched a football game till I came to Pittsburgh. Came to Pittsburgh in 2001. The only thing I watched football games for was the Super Bowl commercials, which I absolutely hate right now. And once I came here and I started watching football, I was hooked. I started watching hockey and I was hooked. And the things that I was really doing for research at Carnegie Mellon at that point were things like embedded systems and mobile systems and distributed systems. I had done a startup before in California, more on high available enterprise systems, you know, like the back-end financial kind of systems. And when I came in here, I just fell in love with sports. And I started thinking how I could put those two things together, sports and technology. So we have a lot of research projects, but I'm going to talk to you about the commercial ones. But I did want to mention all the other stuff that we do. So for example, one of my pet peeves is when ref calls don't go my way on Sundays, or don't go the Steelers' way on Sundays, and I throw things at the TV. So we started to think, you know, what can we do about this problem? It is a problem, right? And so we put sensors into football so we can actually tell the difference between 4th and inches and a first down. We put sensors into wide receiver gloves so we can tell if somebody wobbles the ball. We put sensors into cleats so that we can help a punt kicker kick better, more reproducibly, and help as a coaching tool. So those are the kinds of fun things that we do. One of those fun things ended up becoming commercial. And I'll tell you the journey of how we got where we are, including our failures, including all of the roadblocks and hiccups along the way. So YinzCam is a startup company that spun out from CMU in 2009. There's my background. I've already told you a little bit. And the idea is to have mobile solutions that put control into fans' hands. So let me tell you why we came up with this. When I go to hockey games or Steeler games, I usually get crappy nosebleed seats. Okay, so there's always a tall guy stands up in front of me, cuts off my view of the goal. Okay, now you're already infuriated at this point, and then the Jumbotron guy decides how you should see a replay. All those things just add up to more and more unfairness, and we thought we should do something about this. And one solution was, could we just get all these different camera angles on your cell phone, wherever you are, so you can see the game exactly the way you wanted to see it. Because in fact, the game's much better watched at home. You can pause, you can rewind, you can do all of these different things. But the reason you're there with 17,000 other rabid fans is because you want the experience, right? But you should have some mixture of both. So that's really where we came up with YinzCam. And for those of you who know what Yinz is, you know what Yinz is. If you're from Pittsburgh. And the reason we call it Yinz was, well, if they can call it YouTube, why the heck not YinzCam? So again, fans cannot catch every angle of a sporting event. The game producer decides how I should see a game. That's unfair. The game moves fairly fast, like hockey and even football. And even fans who sit right next to the glass. Even if you have one of those swanky seats next to the glass, it doesn't matter. If the fight broke out on the other side, you still can't see it, right? And you'd like to be able to see it better. And, you know, if hockey isn't about fights, then what else is it about? And it's particularly the case for nosebleed seats. And so you can imagine you really want a way that you can exercise some control over the game. That's really what we do. So the goal is to improve the viewing and interactive experience of fans, to put them in charge, to make sure that there's a two-way flow of information. We didn't want the user to sit there and worry about, well, how do I do video? Does my phone support this? We didn't want the user to worry about all those things. We just wanted the user to say, well, attach myself to a Wi-Fi network, I'm ready to rock, right? And that's really what we wanted. We wanted a customized experience for each fan, and I'll talk a little bit in a minute about how we do that. And we want to do video streaming, most of all. So what is it? Let's go back one. What is it really? It's an experiential in-arena technology for sports fans. That's marketing terms for it's mobile streaming, which allows you to have more control as a fan. Unique live camera angles. For games, we've had anywhere from 8 different angles to 16 different angles. Some of our common angles are bench cam, goalie cam. We've had between the benches cam for one game, which was just absolutely brilliant because you had this guy who couldn't take a bio break the whole game. He was wedged between the two benches, just shooting down center ice. And it was just an amazing view, and fans just loved it because you had this unique shot that you would never see on TV. And we've had then follow cams. They're called ISO cams, where you could follow Malkin, follow Crosby, and I'll show you where all those camera angles are inside Mellon Arena. We also do instant replays, which means 2 or 3 seconds after something has happened. Goal, fight, save, penalty, right? In the case of hockey, you'll see that. You'll be able to catch it from all the different angles right on your cell phone, which is kind of nice, right? Because again, you can see it the way you want it. One of the cool things we threw in were rewinds. So we thought, replays are there, that's nice, but why not have a little rewind button that allows you to do a short rewind or a long rewind? A short rewind would be, say, 15 seconds, because tall guy cut you off and you want to see it again. We also did a long rewind where it's 3 minutes, in case you took a bio break and you heard all the cheering and the loud noise and you missed something. Again, we're thinking as fans, not just as people who do technology, and I am a hardcore fan here. And the rewinds were exceptional, and the reason is, you already get all the replays, right? You get all the stats, you get the fight, goal, save, penalty. Now, why do you care about the rewind apart from these, you went away and you want to see it again? There are these cool, unique moments at games that you go there for. I'll give you an example. After the Super Bowl win, Roethlisberger was hanging out with Mario Lemieux in his box. People loved that view. We had any number of fans go back and rewind and see that again. You had Jeffrey come to do the puck drop. People want to see that again. Right? So there are these cool things that people want to go back and see all over again. And kids want to see the mascot dancing. Right? So all this stuff that you don't realize that add to the fun of a game that you just want to do over, but I'm not going to slice a replay for that. Right? Why should a sports team care? So what's in it for them apart from the fact that they can say they have this cool technology? Well, they can get an additional source of revenue because essentially we gave them a way to monetize dead game time. I'll explain. So when you look at any one of these arenas, they've put a logo on anything that can move, right? You have digital signage all around the rink. You have signage around the Jumbotron. That Jumbotron is plastered with ads, right? Anything that can move has an ad on it. But here's their problem. Most people tune those out. You forget what those ads are because you're too busy watching the action. What if, while a person was in their seat, you have a fan captive in their seats? Think again like a team, right? You have somebody captive in their seats. What if you could say, at that time I could be making money off of what they do? And that's really what this gives them. It's a way for a fan to go voluntarily, acquire a service, go watch video. And the moment you watch video, you can throw an ad there. A fan to go watch a replay, throw an ad there. Now they have a distinct way of going off and making money off of the fact that a fan is sitting in the seat, but there's nothing going on the ice. That's really dead game time. And in fact, hockey has the least amount of it. If you look at it, baseball has a lot more, right? Build brand loyalty. That's another one. So especially for the younger fans, it's been great to see kids who jump on the system and want to be able to see the mascot, want to see these cool things, especially people who are new to hockey. And they can see all these different angles, and it adds to the experience of the game. It was deployed for the Pittsburgh Penguins for 40 games of the last season, including the Stanley Cup finals. And the Penguins are going ahead and signing a contract with us to deploy this permanently for the next 3 or 4 years, including the Consol Energy Center. And I'll talk about all of our other sales as well. Okay, so here's Mellon Arena. If you've seen this is a great whiteout night, which I love. All the red arrows show you where we have camera angles. And we've got a lot more, but these are the basic ones we've had. The stuff right on top up there, those are the tight and the wide shot. So on the balconies, you have these 2 big cameras. The next time you go in there, take a look. The tight shot can follow a piece of action like a fight, a goal, a save. The wide shot is just the whole arena, right? See those 2 things next to the benches? You can see the home bench and the rival bench. You can see the 2 things at the net. You can have the 2 goalie cams. See the 2 under the Jumbotron? Those are called RoboCams or ISOCams. They can turn around and follow players. So you can follow Malkin Crosby, you can follow somebody else. So those are the ISOCams. These are the camera angles that we stream out every game, and that fans can pick from, and they can see replays from these angles for every single game. Now, we're supporting this on Wi-Fi. I'll explain why. I learned more about broadcasting rights in the last year than I care to know. And one of the things is, and these are cool things that I learned. I never knew these things before, and so I love to share these facts. It turns out that for every single game, FSN Pittsburgh owns the rights to all the video that leaves the building for 48 hours after a game. 48 hours later, the NHL owns it, right? So now you have this really interesting thing. Nothing can leave the building. No video can leave the building because otherwise we're competing with broadcasting rights, and I don't want to be in that business. What we can do, on the other hand, is provide a very unique in-arena experience as long as the video never leaves the building, and they're okay with that. And that's really what we do. And how do we do this? Wi-Fi. So as long as you have Wi-Fi inside the bowl and you constrain it, and nothing leaks out, we're good. We can now have a revenue-generating opportunity inside the bowl. Those are some of the phones we support this on, and I'll talk a lot more about the other kinds of phones. We supported about 50 different kinds of phones in the last season. I'll show you those. We also support these on touch screens. So imagine if you had these, 28-inch honking screens that you have, right? Same kind of service, except it's sitting in the luxury boxes that allows people to make more money, right? And so we also provide the same kind of service. It's exactly the same thing, except it's just on a larger real estate, right? And those are also available in the luxury boxes. They will also be there in the Consol Energy Center. In fact, every suite will have YinzCam on a larger touchscreen. Again, respects broadcasting rights. There are some of the unique camera angles. We do real-time replays. We do on-demand video clips. So for example, on the first game, right, you saw this banner raising, when they had the banner going up for the championship, right? So when they had that, there was a video clip that was taken. We can provide that to fans of the next game. So any new content that's generated, the Stanley Cup doing the rounds of all the players' homes, we can provide that. So in addition to all this other stuff, if there's stuff that you get bored by, you can always go back and see, hey, what happened? What did Malkin's mom cook on that day? And where was that video clip of that? You can go see that because that stuff is available. And we get that from the team. Obviously, we do roster, schedule, game rules, stats. I mean, those are usual things that you'd expect, right? Game rules are kind of cool because people who come to hockey for the first time don't know what an icing penalty is, right? And there are lots of things they don't know or don't understand. And people hate asking other people and looking really, naive or dumb about things. But instead, if we provide a lot of that information, they can go look it up. You do have that in the program booklet. It's just that nobody flips through the booklet because it looks really obvious that you're looking through the booklet. It's easier to do it on your phone. I want to talk about the last one, which is a really cheesy but a cute one if you think about it from a fan's viewpoint, right? You've seen this at every game, right? Fans go nuts when their face is on the Jumbotron. Most sober person in the world, faces on the Jumbotron, person goes nuts, right? I wanted them to have a little bit of that to take home with them. So here's what we did, cheesy. After I say this, you really will realize how cheesy this is. We let fans take pictures with their cell phone cameras. They upload it to our server through YinzCam. 5 seconds later, you get that picture stitched into the Jumbotron image, making it look like you were there. Told you it was cheesy, right? Now, the nice thing for the Penguins is they can make money off of this. It's a magnet, it's a mug, it's a mouse pad, it's all these things. But you've got bragging rights on this thing. It looks like you were on the Jumbotron, and it could be this really special moment that you had at a game, birthday party, marriage proposal, whatever that is. But you have that. And now you can get that printed in whatever version that you like, and you can go out and you can show this off to other people on your cell phone as a wallpaper. That's what we provide. That's free. Now, in addition, you can go buy the higher res print if you want, and that's something the Penguins will provide. One of the things I wanted to point out was I'm a fan. We never wanted to charge fans. So even though we had a lot of pressure initially to charge fans, we said no, we wouldn't. If you look at competing products, and I should make sure that I provide nods to the competing products, there are a couple of companies out there that try to do things like this. There's a company called Kangaroo TV. They do stuff for the Miami Dolphins. There's a company called Wise TV. They do stuff for the San Diego Chargers. What they do is they provide you pocket TVs. You've seen pocket TVs, right? You go to Amazon.com, you can order a pocket TV. On a pocket TV, you can catch different camera angles. Okay? That's fine, except a pocket TV costs money. Or if you want to rent it there, it's 35 bucks a pop. From day one, we said, I've sat in nosebleed seats. That's what I get. We wanted this to be free. So all of this is free to fans. Okay? Wi-Fi. Let's look at the Wi-Fi numbers. One of the big pushback that I always get whenever I talk about this from the business side is people say, well, not a lot of phones out there have Wi-Fi. Well, so you must have a very small business, right? Well, let's look at the numbers over here, right? I want you to look at the right side graph, if you can see that. The right side graph shows you the percentage of Wi-Fi penetration across cell phones. So in 2009, we're about 15%. Here's what the Penguins are betting on. By 2012, it's 60%. And that's just mobile cell phones. I'm not talking PSPs, Nintendos, iTouches. I'm not even including those things in that number. The Zunes now, right? So it's just looking at mobile cell phones. So that's really what most teams are betting on that you're going to be able to get. Just to give you a sense of our target engagement, ignore all the numbers. The only point I'm trying to make here is for an average game, this wasn't even a playoff game, This was an average game, because that's the thing that really makes sense. I don't want to stand up here and show you a glowing playoff game, because that would be a lie. Not every game is a playoff game. For an average game, fans watched about 30 hours of video content for a 2-hour game using our interfaces, which was tremendous. We didn't expect that going in. And we had about 50% of the audience in the bowl for an average game. And that was, again, huge to us. Here are the types of devices. And by the way, 25 different kinds of devices fell off the bottom. Look at the numbers for Apple out there. Aren't those astounding? That surprised us. We didn't expect that going in. I mean, I expected Apple to have a healthy share, but 86.4% people. And that includes iTouches too, right? So if you look at all those, and Research in Motion is obviously BlackBerry. We have 25 that dropped off the bottom there. These were all the phones that we saw on our system that were able to access our system. The best part is we never even tested with most of these phones, right? All we did was we provided this as a complete web-based browser service, which meant as long as you had a browser on your particular system, on your particular cell phone, you were ready to rock. So you walk into Mellon Arena or Consol Energy Center in the future, you find the Wi-Fi network, you attach to the Wi-Fi network, you bring up a browser, you should be ready to go. We wanted it to be that simple. Okay? Here's my money shot. I love this shot because this is the Stanley Cup Finals. It shows an iPhone to the left, BlackBerry in the middle, and the right side is a Google Android phone. That really is my money shot because it's 3 different camera angles for a Stanley Cup final. And I really, really love that picture. That's one of my favorite pictures. These are goosebumpy moments. Since I'm here and I have a soapbox, I can talk about my goosebumpy moments, right? So we had a permanent story about us on the Pittsburgh Penguins webpage, which is down there, which I love. This was the day we launched. Major goosebumpy moment that day. Right, this was the day we launched. It was against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And as you can imagine, the day you launch, you have a lot of fear. Most of you don't eat the whole day because you have no idea if the stuff will work. You're hoping it will. But it's the most adrenaline you've ever had in your life. And it's a lot of fun. And so this was one of our really, really great days. And I love that. We also have an ad before puck drop on the Jumbotron. And every time I see that, I get goosebumps because it's just a really neat thing. And I feel it's very special for us. And again, there you go. You see all the ads, right? See, look at all those honking ads around the Jumbotron. Fan feedback. From day one, we made a very conscious decision that we would let people love us or hate us online. And which meant we have a Facebook page. We've taken all kinds of comments. We've taken comments such as people said, I don't like the color of the icon you use on the iPhone. All right, we'll change it. And whatever it is people have said, we've taken it to heart because at the end of the day, we're fans. We know you're fans. And we want you to have as much fun as we do. And so at the end of the day, it was really important for us to be completely candid. Nothing about this was stealth. All the comments, good, bad, everything is available online for anyone else to see. And that was a very conscious decision, and I really think that was the smartest thing we did. Obviously, me being me, I'm going to pick all the good ones to show you here, right? And so here are 3 of my favorites. One actually from Jason Head, who made it possible for me to go to Refresh Pittsburgh, through which I came here. And you'll also see a video there. And so if you go to that video link and you click on that video, you'll actually see, I think, WPXI interviewing fans, walking around the arena saying, what did you like? What did you hate? What was good about this? What was bad about this? So you'll see more video footage there. And we didn't pay them, by the way. Marketing strategy. Okay, so we're from a university. I don't have a ton of money. Remember I said nosebleed seats, right? So it was shoestring budget from day one. We used the team's reach into the fan base, so we nagged them to say, put this out on Facebook, put this out on your Twitter, let's do the Jumbotron ad before the game. We weren't even in the program booklet. We have a kiosk on site, and you can stop by there and you can get flyers. We're not even in the program booklet. We did contests, so we would actually get people to jump on our system and start using it because, you know, people will do anything to get an autographed Malkin jersey. And so, you know, this is a good inducement to just make sure that people jump on our system. What has been really, 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 really effective for us has been Twitter and Facebook. I would say Twitter was our #1 engagement tool. We really started to get the word out. We used the right hashtags. So for example, if you're in the sports industry, #Twackle, TWACKLE, is a very common hashtag. It's like your sports bar in the Twitter sphere, right? Anything that you put a #Twackle for goes to a central place where other people who are interested in the game can look at it. So we'd always do the #NHL, #hockey, #Twackle. It would go there. We'd get more fans. We'd get more people using it. We've actually had business connections come through this. I've had Chicago Blackhawks fans come back and say, hey, I saw this thing on Twackle. can I find you the person inside my organization you should go talk to make sure that you can get this for the Blackhawks? We've had Maple Leafs fans come back and say, can you find the person in our organization? And by the way, I will find the person for you. Just make sure it comes to our arena. Why should only the Penguins have this? Right? So, you know, it's been really, really, really effective as a medium. Facebook has been terrific for us to be loved or hated online publicly. And we've taken everything seriously. So I think those two have been, I would say, our #1 things, and they're free. Didn't cost us anything except conscious effort before a game, the day before a game, the day after the game, just to make sure we always engaged. This is another one of my goosebumpy moments. I'll let you read that. It was a really major thing for us because it was a month into our pilot. Remember, we started on February. Feb 6, that day is, you know, burning my brain. Feb 6, 2009, we started. A month later, we had this letter from the Penguins. And one of the things was Mario was actually using this, Mario Lemieux was using this for some of the games. And this, again, was a major goosebumpy moment for us. The fact that they said, we love this, we've tried it out, our fans like it, we've done the polls, we think we want to go forward with this. So this was, again, a major thing for us. Another thing we did, we took all the written feedback from fans and we ran it through Wordle. Okay, so the bigger a word appears, the more often it appeared in the feedback. Now, I left the bad stuff in here just to show you, right? So I have slow over there, which one of you may have put in there, so come talk to me later. Don't expect to leave alive, but come talk to me later. Okay? You'll see a lot of other stuff in there, right? I only took out expletives for obvious reasons, right? But I left everything else in there because I really wanted to see what fans thought. And we took comments from Facebook. I took comments from everywhere. All our sources of written feedback, including Twitter, we ran it through this. You know what I like? I really like the fact that even YinzCam doesn't show up in big font. What I like is the fact that replays great, awesome, gold, camera, cool, love show up. That to me means that's what resonated with fans. And those are the things we were going for. Not even our own name. I don't care if they don't remember us. I care that they had a great experience at the game. And this is one of the big things for me. So the summary, and then I'll jump into iBerg and what we're trying to do there. But I'll also you know, open the floor up for questions on this before we jump into something different. So this was a large scale, which means we can actually go entire arena-wide. Large scale experiential mobile video technology. Again, another goosebumpy thing was we made the 2009 list of top 10 sports technologies that Network World did throughout the nation. The cool thing is the other 9 on that list are the yellow first down line for football. You know how popular that is. HD TV, you know how popular that is. So we're a really, really good company. And we were amazed we got put in there, being such a newbie technology at this point. It was really cool to build a production system. Scary as hell, but really, really cool. And it was a team of a whole bunch of students who are now staying on with us because we spun this off as a startup company. It will be permanently deployed for the Penguins. We're now discussing with the NHL to get this out to other arenas. So they have 30 different arenas, so we can get this out there. We're also in talks with 2 or 3 NBA teams to get this out to the NBA. The NCAA Final Four, next year they'd like us to support them. And this is going to be in the Indy Cold Stadium, which will be huge. That's a really huge facility. I'm excited. We've deployed for soccer teams in Portugal, which is interesting because Cristiano Ronaldo, the #1 soccer player, is actually from Portugal. And so we've deployed there. Another big thing was British Telecom is the infrastructure provider for the 2012 Olympics. They had 950 technology proposals. They down selected to 22, where we were on their list. That's a major thing for us because it's not inside just one arena. You could be watching Michael Phelps break a record while you're watching some other event going on. Across stadiums, across events. And that's really, really, really cool. And there's a bunch of press that we've had. Another goosebumpy moment. That's my 3-year-old. He should be recognized because he goes with mom everywhere. He's a diehard hockey fan. Even if I offend some of you, he knows how to say his boo caps, boo flyers, which is really important to his mom. And he goes to every single game and he loves this. And that's the rest of my team. These are the people who made it possible. And I should thank them because without them, I wouldn't be standing here. And this was, again, another major goosebumpy moment for us because we had our moment with the Stanley Cup. So let me open this up for questions and then I'll jump into iBerg. Any questions, people?
How did you generate the list of devices that had connected to your network?
Oh, excellent point. How did we generate the list of devices? You can actually tell the manufacturer. You can't tell the exact type of device, but you can tell the manufacturer based on what you're getting back from the Wi-Fi authentication, including the MAC address too.
The reason I asked that is one of the devices that was listed there was Wi-Fi,
Yes.
EFI.
Yes.
those are actually a Wi-Fi enabled card that you could have in your digital camera for uploading pictures. So I'm curious how somebody was using that.
So that was actually one of us in our own team, where one of us was wandering around the arena taking pictures and streaming back. So that was one of our own devices.
That's
Yep. Go ahead.
Questions.
Yes.
One, how are you guys making money off of it? And two, have you considered licensing the technology to other companies so that they can deploy it at other stadiums?
Okay, I'll repeat the questions. How are we making money off of this after we've had fun with it? And also, have we considered how we might license this to other people so we can get this out further? Essentially, there are two ways we could make money off of this. One is just straight up revenue sharing, which is if we land a big fat sponsorship deal, we could just say we'll waive the installation, the service charges, everything else. We'll just divvy up the proceeds. It's been a lean year for the last couple of years in terms of sponsorships. You've seen a lot of sponsorships being withdrawn for a lot of even sports figures, right? So the other model that we went with, at least for the interim, is we charge for the installation. It's a flat fee. Then we charge annual support. And again, that's a flat fee. It could vary in scale. If I'm doing something like a 100,000 seater, like Beaver Stadium, that's going to be different from if I'm doing a Consol Energy Center, which is 25,000, which seats 25,000. So that's a sliding scale. And then apart from that, if there's a sponsor that comes in, then we divvy up the proceeds. Now, let me talk about the sponsors for a minute. Unlike most companies, we're not wedded to our name. I don't care if the final looking product never has YinzCam on it. What we care at the end of the day, we're a startup company. We care that we make money, right? So I'm fine if some company comes along and says, we want to call it LabattCam. Take your name off of this, but here's what we'll pay you. I'm okay with that, as long as we know we're getting a share of that for the entitlement rights. So that's another option that we're offering. In addition to, we'll let people put video ads or tasteful bugs. Video ads I'm a little bit reluctant to do, because if I want to go see a replay, even as a fan, I don't want to be bombarded with a 10-second video to see a 15-second replay. After a while, I'll tune out. So we have to be really careful where we are being tasteful in our placement of ads, but those are our two different business models. Let's go to your other question. Where have we considered licensing this out to other people? We're in active discussions with, I would say, 2 or 3 agencies that already have a client roster. They're already at other facilities, but they're offering things that are not video. They're offering, say, text messaging as one example. And they'd love to be able to license this from us and package this and bundle it there. And obviously, then they work as a sales distribution channel. And we're in Pittsburgh, which is nice. But if I can reach out to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, that's great. If somebody's already in there and can help us get in there. Okay.
Thank you.
What kind of companies are doing advertising on this?
Okay. What kind of companies are doing advertising right now? I can't tell you the names. Probably in a month you'll find out what the names are. So right now it's mostly been the companies that are inside Mellon Arena already. So basically all the signage that you see, those have been the companies that have essentially come forward to say we're interested in this part or that part. And the other thing we did was we did an impression count last season. We figured out which web pages and which features people hit the most. And then we bill people accordingly. So if, for example, replays are hit the most, that gets billed at something. So if you're Labatt and you want to come in and you want your logo all over the replays, you're going to pay something different from, say, the roster, which you might access once in a blue moon. And that would be a much lower sponsorship fee that some other company would pay. Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead.
So the ads, are you moving more towards an overlay on the actual, like a bottom third or top third or
okay. So the question was the ads. What are the overlays like? We can do bug in the bottom right-hand corner, top right-hand corner. So think of the bugs just like you have the NBC Peacock logo, right? So we can do that. We can do the entire look and feel, which is really what we want for naming rights. So, for example, let's take Labatt again as a hypothetical sponsor. So if Labatt was going to come in and say, we want this called Labatt Vision, we would produce a version that looked and felt like a Labatt product. Short of seeing literally, the dewdrops on the side of the can, you would think this was a Labatt product. And that's part of the design, right? So we have a couple of designers on board whose job it is to take that sponsorship entitlement and convert the look and feel to what a sponsor wants. So those are the two different models. One, we can put logos in different places, and the placement also dictates what the sponsorship fee is. Or we can do the entire overhaul, the look and feel to be that particular sponsor. Any other questions? Okay. So let me talk about the next thing. which Councilman Bill Peduto mentioned this morning. And how did this happen? How did we suddenly go from sports to e-democracy, right? And it turned out that Councilman Peduto, he's a huge hockey fan. He went to hockey games, he tried out YinzCam, and he thought, well, if you can give fans control, why don't you give Pittsburghers control over their government? So it seemed like a very natural thing. And I never had any inkling that this is something that we were going to do, even as a company. This was never something we set out to do, but this is something we stumbled upon and we're really enjoying right now. And so he met up with me to say, okay, here's the deal. You're already able to do these things. And remember, I talked about this Jumbotron keepsake. We let people take a picture and we tell you, 5 seconds later, here's the revised version of the picture. Same feature, right? I'm letting people take geotagged pictures of potholes and graffiti and submit them to the government. It's no different. We already had that feature. He just wanted to turn that around to be used by Pittsburghers. And so he saw the potential there, and he took a couple of meetings with me and said, here's the deal, it'd be great to build this. And I said, yeah, that's fine, we can do it. And then he said, here's the rub. We've got to beat Boston. You heard that this morning, right? And Boston's trying to come out with an app, and we've got maybe 4 weeks or a 5-week lead, but we've got to get it out there. The good thing was we'd already had this built, right? Because we were doing this for YinzCam already. We just had to repurpose it, but plus we had to integrate it with the city's backend system. So it couldn't just be that I took the pictures and sent them to a YinzCam server. It actually had to go to the city's 311 system. So that was the major change, and he did put the resources, the city's resources behind us to actually get us to build this. And we did this for free. I mean, this is a city that I love, and this is a city that I decided to make my home. So we really wanted to do this for free, and especially we want to be Boston. And so one of the things was we did integrate entirely with the backend, the 311 system, and we were able to do that in a span of 2 weeks. And as he pointed out, it's not going to be perfect, because again, we wanted to be first there. And now that we're there, we recently released a survey on iBurg because we want to hear from everybody who's used it. What sucks about this? What should we fix? What should we throw in there? Tell us so we can go back. It's the same thing as the Facebook stuff. The results of the survey we'll post online because we want you to know exactly what everybody else thought. And so we want to do this in a very, very transparent way. But again, we're soliciting feedback for the things you'd like to see. And somebody this morning said, it would be great if I got an acknowledgement back. I want a two-way channel, not a one-way channel. Give me the acknowledgement back and let me know that something actually got fixed. So that's something we're going to release in the next version. We know that for sure. So again, we'll evolve this, but we were the first out there. So this is really putting control now in residents' hands rather than the fans' hands. It was the first iPhone e-government app. So this was a really major distinction, at least for Pittsburgh. The cool thing was in the first week that it was out there, we had 3,200 downloads. That was amazing. I didn't expect that. Honestly, I swear to you, I didn't expect that. And that was a number that really, really, really made us sit down and think, this is something that we should take a look at seriously and convert into a business. It allows residents to interface with the city's 311 system. They can report things like potholes, graffiti, traffic. It's the auto geotagging feature that makes this special. So how does our city do it today? So if you go on the city's website, you'll see we have two kinds of ways that you can report a complaint to the city. You can fill out a form, which you're going to do when you go home and you're in front of a computer. You'll fill out a form, which most of us won't do, right? Or you can call up the city and you can complain, which a lot of us will do when we are very, very angry, right? Which means the city is not going to be able to parse a word of what you just said, which always happens. So when we talk to the people at the city who resolve these complaints, one of the things that they told us was they'd hear a complaint that said, well, you have to fix that pothole in front of, on Bayard Street. It's been there for 6 weeks. They don't know where it is. All they know is there's a pothole. It's been there 6 weeks. It's huge, according to one person, and it's on Bayard Street. That could be anywhere, right? And so now they don't have the information that they have to go back and crawl through, right? And so they need something that at least got over the manual location of the complaint. So the idea also is to allow city officials to visualize the nature and the severity of the complaint, to aggregate common or related complaints, and I'll tell you what I mean by that when I come to the map version of this in a minute, to avoid the manual data entry, which is really the big point here. You don't want somebody answering the phone of an irate Pittsburgher and then trying to translate that into a complaint and resolve this. This just makes it easy. You point, shoot, picks up the GPS, sends it to the city can fix it, right? And I think that makes it much more seamless, and then to be able to schedule repairs. I just want to point out Justin Bieber, who walked in. Justin Bieber is one of the people with YinzCam. If you can raise your hand, Justin. So he's one of the guys who makes the magic happen. I just talk, right?
Excuse me.
Yes?
When you say you take the picture, send it in, picks up the GPS from where?
Okay, so we have different ways of doing it. So there are a couple of APIs and toolkits for doing it that you can pick up the GPS. I think the first version that we used, Justin, remind me, what's the first version of the API that we used?
I think it's just the map kit.
The map kit API, and the second version, the one that was much more improved, is from?
I'm sorry, that was map kit. The first was the core location.
Okay, the core location. The second one was the map kit. And recently, when we've talked to other cities, they've asked whether instead of using more of a Google Maps kind of version, we use something called Esri, which is something that a lot of federal agencies tend to use as having more accurate geotagged information, especially for rural areas, because apparently Google Maps doesn't update as often. So that's the kit that we'll finally end up using in the APIs for that.
It's just for iPod?
Oh, okay. The first version is for the iPhone. We're now developing versions for the BlackBerry, the Android, and probably the Palm Pre as well. And again, this is part of our survey. In our survey, we asked, what are all the platforms that you want us to roll this out on? And we're going to see what all of you say.
And do you have to download two apps, one for the GPS and one?
No, it's just a one-stop shop. You download the one thing from the App Store, and you're going to get everything you want. This is the app description on the App Store. This is what it looks like, and again, the colors are representative of the Pittsburgh color. The name Iburg actually came from Councilman Bill Peduto. That was one of the names that he came up with. And again, you'll see the colors of Pittsburgh here. It's very simple. Take a picture, add a description, submit report. It's the first incarnation, obviously. It's as simple as it could be. Here's a pothole. It found the location automatically. It says 55124 Forbes Avenue. You can also add your own description. If you want to provide more information, it's been there for 6 weeks, nobody's fixed it, whatever else you want to do. And it pulls in a lot of information from your cell phone. So the first time around, you might have to enter some information. After that, you can cache it and keep pulling it up over and over again, so you don't have to repeatedly enter the same information. On the city side, and this is where it gets really interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't know where I am, but around me, there's a lot of crack houses and stuff. Can I take pictures of people going in and out of crack houses and whorehouses?
I don't think at this stage we have restricted to anything. Okay? It's a question of what the city will do with your picture. That I can't answer for. And I think our policy explicitly says we don't know what the city is going to do with this. We'll get it there. But whatever they do with it, and I don't know if they have a category for that. We'll ask the next time. I'll make sure we get you an answer. Give me your card, I'll get you an answer.
Somebody suggested.
I'm sorry?
Somebody suggested taking a picture of the mayor and asking if they could be replaced.
No. The best one to me was when the Pirates did all their trades. Somebody said, I'm going to take this out to PNC Park, and I'm going to Iburg the heck out of every player and manager there. Okay, somebody else had a question? Okay, let me finish up so we still keep within time. This is what the version looks like on the city side. So again, if you take a look at this, why is this important? So look at that graffiti incident or this pothole incident, right? Every time somebody takes one of these things, a thumbtack gets dropped on the city side so they can visualize where that incident was reported. Here's why this is important, and here's where some of our smarts come in. If you had 30 people report the same darn pothole, you're going to see 30 little thumbtacks around the same area, and you could fly over them and say there's the same pothole. That's really neat as compared to when somebody calls in. You have to find out which street, which block it was away, whether somebody got the address right. You can't say they're the same thing. Let's just bump up the criticality on it because there were 30 people who complained rather than one, right? So this is another interesting feature that we'll have smarts in the back end to allow the city to be more efficient in processing reports that are related to each other, right? That could be same neighborhoods, etc. Now, here's another part about this that we hope to support in the future. If you see a bunch of these incidents, the city could also say schedule a repair route. And we could show them how they could go through a bunch of these things and what a good repair route would look like for doing all the potholes or all the graffiti or all the cleanup, which is kind of nice. They don't have that today. So again, there's a lot of things that we can add as smarts in the back end. Go ahead, sir.
Just seeing the tree down there, I walk my dogs in Riverview Park every day, and sometimes a tree will fall down across the trail, and I gotta go way around and I don't know who to report it to. Can I use this? To
Yes,
report?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead,
This
sir.
thing is up and running right now?
Yes, yes, it's been downloaded a bunch of times and people have submitted reports already.
Is there any follow-up? It's really about to ask two questions.
Sure,
but
go ahead,
one of
go
them
ahead.
Is there any way of telling at this point if this is causing the city to be more efficient?
Okay, right now, we might have that information on the back end because we can see what the city receives. One of the problems with the system, and again, this was part of the Russian getting it out, right? Is there's no acknowledgement mechanism, and that's what somebody pointed out in the audience this morning, which is a very right point, and I should have spoken up then as well. There's no acknowledgement mechanism to say, you know what, we received it, and we're going to get to this in a month, in a day, in 2 weeks. There's nothing.
So then there's also then no way of going back a week later and
Right.
finding out.
Right.
This
In the current.
This one has been checked.
Right, in the current version. In the new version that we're going to release, because this is the feedback that we've gotten from everybody in the city who's been kicking the tires on this, is we do need a way to have that two-way communication, as Bill Peduto talked about this morning, that you know which were the potholes or which were the things you reported. You have a history of your incidents. You know when they were reported, when they were closed out, whether the city is going to schedule a repair route around that. You at least want that information that you felt that your city was proactive about it.
Which would give you the ability to make a phone call and inspire somebody.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then there's a second part to this. In the future, and this is something that I'm going to open up and ask all of you, because again, as we talk to a lot of other cities, we're taking this national now, and other cities outside of Pittsburgh want this, right? One of the big pushbacks we get is, do you want to do the wall of shame version of this? Which is, you display all of the incidents, the potholes, the graffiti in a city, and as we heard this morning, that's going to bring prices in neighborhoods down. There's a wall of shame version, right? So you could always do that. But there may be a value in at least seeing that in your area, because instead of taking another picture of the same pothole, if you saw that your neighbor had complained, maybe you just bump up the criticality of that, saying, hey, I want to complain too. Add me to that list. Right? So, we'd love to be able to support that, but again, this is a part of the feedback, right? As you fill out the survey, and I'm going to show you the survey, as you fill this out, let us know, because the more pushback we get from people saying, we want this, the more we can go back to cities and say, people want this. I don't care if you don't like the wall of shame, but people want this.
The other piece to that, though, is it gives us on the outside, the users, the ability to find out if our city government is being responsive to us.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. And I think that's what we need as a two-way channel. Right now, in its current form, absolutely, it is a one-way channel. And that is one of its drawbacks. The next version is not going to be.
I was just curious if there's any discussion associated with cost estimation for the Public Works Department associated with next year's repairs and services.
Right. So right now, they're not folding any of the information back from this to affect estimates or repairs or budgets or any of those things. I think as we have more smarts in the back end and we do the repair routes, we do everything else, I think the city, if they're doing it right, will take those analytics and feed them into what their estimates are. And that is the right way. This then just becomes the way citizens drive how the government spends money. At the end of the day, it's not even about potholes. If we can use this as a tool to decide where they spend their effort and money on a day-to-day basis, I think we've won.
Is there any logic built in that will, for instance, tell if something is outside of the city limits and it falls under the county versus?
Okay, good point. So this was, can you tell whose jurisdiction you're under? In its current version, it's only I work for the city of Pittsburgh. We've been contacted by others like the Borough of Plum. So as we do different jurisdictions, when you report things, it could say, this doesn't fall within the city. This goes outside of here because the GPS location tells you it doesn't fall within the jurisdiction.
But there's nothing really keeping me from installing this application, going back home to Austin, Texas, taking a picture, sending it in. There's nothing in, is there some logic built in telling that will keep me from uploading that data?
You can still go to Austin, Texas, take a picture and upload it, except the Pittsburgh City's 311 servers would get it.
Okay.
As we
So
work
it
with...
won't keep me from updating.
Nope.
Conceivably, a bunch of other people could do
Absolutely. And the reason was also because we built this first one, we wanted it to be demoable. That is, people in other cities tried, understanding that they went through the motions, they didn't see what really happened, and the city of Pittsburgh might take some extra load in seeing all these, but that was part of getting the word out. As other cities, now we have, after this came out, we have 20 cities wanting to work with us. and take this forward for their own city. Now we'll start putting those walls in and saying, this is this jurisdiction, you can't do this. This is this version, you can't do this. As we move forward, we'll do those. But in the first version, we also wanted it to be demoable. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Who's paying for this?
This was essentially, we paid for it as a company. This is YinzCam that paid for it as a company.
Well, then the question that comes after that is, and that's fine as long as the information is going in one direction, they might pay you for that. But when they have to put it on the table and show people that they're responding, are you getting static off that?
Right. So I think that's the second set of discussions. That's what I was talking to Councilman Peduto about this morning, is if you start to have the two-way flow of information. Because right now, we're just pushing things in, and we said, we love the city, we want to do this. We'll do it for free. And we'll charge other cities. We won't charge Pittsburgh, we'll charge other cities. Right? But if you now start to have the two-way flow that affects other things, and they need to know how much it costs, they're taking that information, they're putting man-hours behind processing it because they're using it for other purposes. Now there become costs associated with it. Go ahead.
You're showing physical problems. You're showing trees and potholes and graffiti and stuff like that. Is there a way to build into this one, and I take my iPhone and take a picture of a bunch of Pittsburgh police officers gassing a bunch of college kids?
There's nothing to prevent you from submitting that picture. Right now, there's nothing that curtails you from submitting it. You can submit that picture today. And in fact, we've had people from the Citizens Police Review Board come back and say,
yes.
Can you build a version of this for us where we can tag this and it will come to us if it's information of this nature rather than this nature? So in fact, we're talking to them to say, would we be able to take the same thing, just retool it so it goes to them instead?
Is there any cost from the App Store to download it?
No, it's free. Again, same thing as with YinzCam. We built this so it would be free to the user. So what else? BlackBerry, Windows Mobile, Palm Pre, Android. Again, as Councilman Peduto pointed out this morning, at the end of the day, so for example, I live in Squirrel Hill. I'd love this to be customized to all the council meetings related to things in my area. I just don't want the pothole stuff. I'd like to know that today they're having a meeting, that they're going to decide this, that somebody will come along and rip out, all my turf and start laying Comcast cable down there. I want to know that there's a meeting going on about this, right? So if there could be things that are customized to my neighborhood, I'd really appreciate that. So that's something that you'll see in a future version of this. So just like in YinzCam, we take live video feeds, we're going to take council meeting video feeds and allow you to watch those. So that will be the next version of this. So again, you can see all the hockey features, except we're just putting control into residents' hands, but it's the same kind of thing, right? And it's just repurposed. Go ahead.
For those of us who don't have a BlackBerry or whatever,
Good point.
Is there the ability for me to take a picture, for example, on my phone, bring it home, and have an interface
Yes.
on
Yes.
my home computer and dump it in
Yes.
there? And
In
send
fact,
it
the
off?
current 311 form will let you do that. So the current 311 form on the Pittsburgh website, if you did want to be able to upload other materials, including your complaint, and you want to be able to upload a picture, I believe it can let you do that.
Well, can you put in the
The geotag, no. You'd have to do that manually. So you'd have to manually geocode it, but yes, you could go around and take pictures like that. And a future thing that we may support is most people have text messaging. If you could take a picture and text message it in through a similar interface instead of having an iPhone, and most people have text messaging, that may be another thing that we provide in the future. Finally, we are going national, and as a part of going national, and we get pushback about YinzCam all the time, so I'm just going to tell you that too. We stuck to the name YinzCam at least for now. But as part of going national, as other cities have talked to us, and as I said, 15 or 20 more cities have come out of the woodwork saying, build one for us. And we've actually started signing deals with some of these cities. So they did want something that would be more friendly to them, that did sound Pittsburgh-like alone. So what we're doing is we're calling the cities and mobile, but each city can rename it. So for example, it would be Iburg in Pittsburgh. If it's in somewhere like Alexandria, Alexandria already has a system called MyAlex. It could be called iAlex. Right? So in the local city, it would be named to whatever the roots are, but we needed an overall product name that we could stand behind. And so if you do hear the name Cities and Mobile, that's really what we've named it as. Finally, my email information is up there. Twitter, that's my personal Twitter where I can rant and rave. YinzCam, that's all of our hockey and sports technology stuff. Cities and Mobile, where you'll hear all about our e-government stuff. Those are the two websites. Again, the hockey stuff, or the sports technology stuff, and the other one is the e-government stuff. Okay?
If we log into one of those, can we get to the others?
Yes, you should be. You should be able to. And we're also on Facebook. And if you want to find the Facebook link, if you go to the Twitter feed, and you'll see one of the first things that's posted there is the Facebook link. So you can always go to Facebook. Everything is there. So for example, like I said, we let you love and hate us online. That stuff is there. In fact, you'll see all the complaints that people have posted about us and all the things people want fixed. And we've asked for that feedback publicly. The record is there. We never delete anything. Okay. Any questions finally before I end up? Go ahead.
Can I get your business card?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a whole pile of them for whoever wants a business card.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, well, go back to the YinzCam. I
Yes.
know there's different license agreements and stuff, but has there been any consideration in the future to possibly bring that to at-home users?
Good point. So the question was, could I ever bring YinzCam back at home? So at the end of the day, right, you think about this, you have 17,000 people in the arena. You have, what, 8 million viewers at home? So obviously, even as a startup company, we make more revenue if we can bring it at home. It's just that I think you'd have to have the right set of people at the table. You'd have to have the FSN. You'd have to have the NHL.
Yeah.
If we get enough clout that we can get those people to the table, and we've just started to have those discussions. In fact, a couple of high-level people from FSN will show up for a Penguins game just to kick the tires on YinzCam. So as we start having those discussions, we could actually let people at home enjoy those premium camera angles and drive the system themselves. That would be my goal. I'd love to have that.
That'd be a good pay-per-view.
I know, exactly. Right. Any other questions? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the questions. I really appreciate it.